Hey everyone, and welcome back to our Warlords Battlecry 2 Ironman campaign. We are going to jump right in, and just a reminder, we've had 6 battles, 3 victories. Those 3 losses, 2 of them were failed attempts to take Skullguard Keep. And the third one was also technically a failed attempt at Skullguard Keep, but I almost don't count that because I thought it was a different map because the game gave us a pitched battle instead. I'll talk more about pitched battles the next time we're offered the chance to do one, and in particular I'll talk about why I don't like them so much on Ironman mode. Just a reminder, we are level 5 right now. We did get our specialty after our profession, and we are now an assassin. And we're almost at the next level. So let's go in. And before I jump right in, I've got a few things to talk about. One thing, well, I'll start out by addressing one thing that I didn't talk about in the last episode. Actually, that's not entirely true. I did talk about it, but I made a rookie mistake. I talked about it in the first fight we had at Skullguard Keep. The one which I then ended up cutting out because it was just a 30-minute stalemate, which I ended up resigning, and I'm like, I'm not gonna make people watch something that's this much of a waste of time. But then, obviously, the rookie mistake was that when I went back in, and in the run where I eventually did win, and which I did keep in the recording, I didn't talk about it. I am, of course, talking about the specific tactic that I was using, and that I'll probably be using for most battles wherever I can. And you kind of saw it in the 3rd/4th run at Skullguard Keep. But let me be explicit about what I was doing. So, playing as the Minotaurs, I've already talked about how they don't have a lot of unit variety. They don't have that many ways to attack or to defend. They have one other disadvantage in that they don't get income bonus technologies. So they can put thralls in mines to improve output, but, you know, so can the humans, for instance, so can the dwarves. But those races, in addition to being able to do that, can also research technologies that improve their resource output. Elves can't put things into mines, but in addition to having resource generation technologies, they also have like their basic flying unit, the Phoenix, is able to convert mines. So very early on, they have a flying unit that can just go all over the map and grab all the mines. So they kind of have this hidden resource advantage, if you take the Phoenix into consideration. Now, the Minotaurs don't have anything like that. So those two things put together, not having a lot of resources, plus not having a great unit selection, except for some very expensive units that they get very late, means that in any battle that goes a long distance, that goes a long time, they are at a pretty big disadvantage. So it's in my interest to not let battles go long. There is another reason to not let battles go too long, because the longer they go, we are in Ironman mode, the longer they go, the more chance that some freak incident will occur that'll kill my hero. So we are strongly incentivized to end fights quickly. And fortunately, the Minotaurs have one way in which they can do that, which is if they enter a battle, and if you have Minotaur Kings in your retinue, and if you know where your opponent already is ahead of time, you can send your Minotaur Kings to destroy your opponent. And sometimes things go wrong. For instance, if your opponent starts with a Moon Guard, which is a pretty strong counter to the Minotaur Kings, because they're a ranged unit with high range, big damage, and they attack fast. But barring situations like that, especially if you can bring more than one Minotaur King in, you can essentially end your opponent before they ever had a chance to get started. And that is gonna be my tactic of choice. I kind of did that in the 3rd/4th Battle of Skullguard Keep. But it was a kind of hybrid strategy that I had to use in this map, because I was able to rush down the blue High Elven opponent quickly and eliminate them as a threat, but I couldn't eliminate the entire, array of enemies before me, because there was that stationary enemy that was guarding the center of the map with a lot of towers, a lot of ranged units. I couldn't just have my Minotaurs walk through that. So the first part of the map resembled the quick strategy. For the second half, I had to rely on a more conventional RTS approach, which is building up a strong army capable of defeating the enemy. Fortunately, I was able to allow the enemy, the active undead enemy, to destroy enough of the stationary elven enemy in the middle so that they would open the way for me while also losing most of their army. And then I took advantage of that by immediately sending my Minotaur Kings and taking them down. And that is the strategy that I'm going to be trying to use for the most part. Okay, that was one thing that I had to talk about. I know this is taking a while, but I've got to just get through a couple things just so you guys, especially those who haven't played this game extensively, so that we're all on the same page and we all know what I'm doing. The other thing, and let me go back to the main menu for this, and let me go back into the campaign menu because I wanted to show this screen. We resigned from a few battles, and I mentioned, I think a couple videos ago, when we had only 2 wins and, only 2 games played and 2 wins, that don't get too attached to what is currently a 100% win streak, because it's not going to last. And indeed, it did not last long at all. I'm actually glad that it happened, and here is my explanation for why. It's because we got this out of the way early. Now I no longer feel any sort of pressure to try and win if I feel like a battle is going badly. On the other hand, let's imagine a hypothetical scenario where I kept winning and my win streak, for instance, got above 10, like it got into the double digits. Now, I know myself, and you might be able to make this inference about me as well, because you might know that I have some completionist tendencies, and that, I tend to be very, very stubborn. I just know that if I was defending a high win rate, like a perfect win rate into a high number of wins, I just know that I would end up doing something stupid to keep my streak alive. I would stay in a battle longer than I should have, longer than I should, and then I would get my hero killed and just end my campaign. And because that's out of the way early, the danger of that happening, at least, is something that we no longer have to worry about. Now, all of that said, finally, let's take a look at this campaign map and plot our next steps. So, remember the initial path I laid out, that, I was going to take out Bane Citadel and just march on and take on Castor? I think that is still kind of the early big goal that we have, but I think we're going to have to be a bit more restrained in how we approach it. So in my original plan for this, which was wildly optimistic, way more optimistic than was warranted, as I now know, was that I would just march through like a juggernaut and just winning every battle, or almost every battle, and take Castor in no time. But after that last battle, and one thing I mentioned, or one thing I didn't mention that happened in my first failed attempt to take Skullguard Keep, the really long stalemate that I was talking about, which I cut out. At one point, the High Elves managed, while I was distracted launching an attack on their base, they kind of sent a commando attack into my base with a few high damage units, and they managed to destroy the tower that my hero was in. And they started doing damage to my hero, and fortunately I responded quickly enough to keep things from getting out of hand. But that really... it really drove home for me the reality of the situation, which is, this is going to be a grind. We won't necessarily get every territory on the first try, and we might be stuck in battles for a long time before we decide whether or not it's worth continuing. And if we're going to be in battles for a long time, it behooves us to get some good defensive bonuses for our hero. So all of that is to say, at the end of the last video I said, maybe I'll go for Graww, because it improves hero hit points. And I'm gonna do that, even though it doesn't help us get to Bane's Citadel, because it's all the way back here. This is also not a bad thing, because it would apply to all of our units, but the problem is it's only armor against a specific type of damage. And armor is nice to have, but if, enemies can, even if you have high armor against something, enemies can get critical hits and do a lot of damage. And, there are ways of negating your armor, whereas, health is health. It's always there as a safety buffer. Anyway, we're gonna go into Graww. And I've got a few more things to say about how I'm going to be doing things, but I think the rest of it I'll save for when we're actually in this map. $15 points. We could pay 4 extra points, and then we would be able to bring both of our Minotaur Kings. But I'm not going to do that. I'm only going to bring one of them, for a reason that I will explain once I'm in map. I'll take a Minotaur King and a Shaman, I guess, 2 Thralls. We're gonna go in. And let me immediately pause the game. Survey the situation. We've got a tower here. We've got our things here. So what I'm gonna do is, because I don't know how my enemy forces are arrayed against me. I don't know what sort of stationary enemies there are. I don't know where the starting locations of my active enemies are. So what I'm gonna do is, I'll be playing this first attempt normally, but this is not gonna be an attempt to win this mission. Instead, what I'll do is I will cut to the point where I'm about to research Farseeing, which will reveal the entire map, and then we will take a look at the entire map and we will make 2 decisions. Number 1, whether or not to try and continue on in this attempt and try and force a win, or whether to resign and use our knowledge of where the enemy is to try and do the other strategy I mentioned of trying to take the enemy out early on. So with that said, I think it's about time that I'm gonna end this recording, and very shortly you should be seeing it cut to when I'm about to research Farseeing. Alright, see you in a bit. Alright, we're close to getting Farseeing. At this point I've also killed both of the enemy heroes. And now we see the entire map. And what do we see? We see that we have an active green enemy who is doing some really annoying things. Okay.
New buildings are available.
This is gonna be a bit of an issue. One thing I'm gonna do is because I see that the rest of the map is kind of free of enemies, and this green hero was an assassin, by the way, so we couldn't let our guard down while fighting him. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be resigning this game shortly, because doing this I'll pick it up, but I'm not too excited about it. We can always start dropping items if we need to. Yeah, our Minotaur King is damaged as well. A single Minotaur King could do a lot of damage, but I think our best bet is going to be to resign this and try again, now that we know what to do and where to go. And of course we gain a level. That's one advantage to the strategy of I guess fighting the same map over and over again. We get a bit of extra experience in the long run. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put some points into training. While we're on the screen, I might as well quickly talk about what the stats do. Some of them are obvious. I'll just mouse over them and you can read the descriptions, and then I'll give my summary. Combat just improves your rolls when you're attacking. Health is self-explanatory. Speed affects both your movement speed and your attack speed. This improves your magic skills. I think also gives you more mana. This improves your command radius and your spell radius, and allows more retinue troops, so this is actually going to be something important later on. Morale. I think a few times I tried explaining what morale is, but every time something interrupted me. So what this does is, for troops inside your radius, the higher your morale is, your command radius, they will get a pretty good bonus to their combat and their speed. But if your morale is high enough, then this passive bonus will go, like a smaller passive bonus will go to all of your units, regardless of whether they're inside or outside your radius. Resistance is nice. So every once in a while there will be enemies that have a status effect like fear or terror, and resistance helps you overcome that. Training will give you it'll give more XP to your troops. It'll also give you more XP as a hero at the end of each battle, but most importantly, it says it also gives a bonus to ability points. And that's going to be nice to get this early on, if we get a bit of a bonus. Conversion helps you convert buildings and mines quicker, and Merchant will make everything you buy a little bit cheaper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 points into training, which leaves us with 5, which is exactly what we need for our assassinate bonuses. All 4 of them, they have different names, but they all do the same thing. And I want all 4 of those. Gotten that. And this may seem like a counterintuitive thing to do, but I'm gonna replace Volagon, which is a higher level Minotaur, with Mancrad, which is a lower level one, and you'll see why I did that when we go back into Graww. Alright. We're gonna go back in. We are facing light resistance. We can still only play as the Minotaurs. And I guess the low-level Minotaur, I was hoping that we would get a slight discount for bringing him in, but we didn't. Oh, and I messed up because I didn't pick the thing that helps me get my other Minotaur into it. So we're gonna have to resign again immediately. That was just a pretty silly mistake on my part. I'm not even gonna try. We get no experience just because of how pointless that battle was. We're gonna go back in, playing as the Minotaurs. And we're gonna pay the 10 crowns for 4 extra points. And now we can bring in our heavy hitters. So let's bring in Mancrad and Voltokar. And we're just gonna go in. And I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my hero out as well. Now I'm gonna have to be very careful in case I run into an assassin hero or something else that does a lot of quick damage to my hero. I'm gonna go this way because I was attacked by the stationary undead hero coming in from this point. Now, what are you? You're an illusionist. You should be fine, but you guys are just standing there not doing anything. You need to attack somebody. Finally, we get a helmet, which gives us training, which is actually nice to have. And we need to kill this vampire. Alright, we dealt with that situation pretty easily. Now if we go in this direction, at some point we'll find the green orcish hero. And we need to be very careful, because last time he was an assassin. I don't know if he's scripted to be an assassin, but I'm gonna be on my guard here. Need to be very, very careful here, as we're getting towards the part of the map where, yep, here are the enemy towers. Well, these stationary towers that are... Oh my god, you guys are... This is... Okay, I'm gonna load my game just because this was really obnoxious. That despite visibly there being plenty of room, it did not let my Minotaur Kings pass through because the map just decided that it wasn't enough space. So we're gonna... You know what, yeah, get a bit more of this. Get a bit more health from killing animals. Gonna be relentlessly save scumming, and I make no apologies for this. The enemy in this, the AI in this game will cheat in multiple ways So I feel no remorse whatsoever in evening the odds for myself. Now let's find a good... Let's save here, and now let's find a good angle of attack. The key is gonna be to... Level 4 Shaman. This is not a great place to be running into him. But you know what? Let's... Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Alright, we'll see what that item is very shortly. For now, what we want to do is we want to bust through these towers. We want to take down this tower. We don't want to get too bogged down fighting towers because our hero has already taken a bit of damage, which is not great, but we want to go inside and we want to start taking down the green guy's base, and of course he has towers of his own, which is awful, but what are you gonna do? But he should only have 3 towers. And oh my god, Mancrad is about to go down, which is not great. Let's see if I can... keep him alive. I have to keep my hero alive because this is getting really tense. Wow, okay. Let's just move you. Oh no. Let's do something like this. Yeah, finally I got my assassinate to trigger. Alright. I think we might be able to win if we're just careful. And what I need to do is I need to take this guy down because he is... If we give him a chance to... What is hitting us? What is hitting us? Okay, what's your speed? Okay, you hunt down that thing. You just take down... Take down this thing and don't... Okay. That's fine, that's fine. Sometimes while running after... Okay, this is not great. Because I think what's happened is... Yep, they have another orc hold. Okay. Okay. The active enemy has been rooted out from this map. Now, what we're gonna do is... We're gonna take these... We're gonna take these mines, and then we're gonna go back to our part of the map, and we're just gonna sit there for a while until we are comfortable enough to take out... This is awful. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save the game. I'm gonna... This is one thing that'll periodically happen in this map, is that skeletons will spawn in and start harassing you. As if fighting an enemy behind a wall of undead towers wasn't bad enough. Okay, so we can get all 4 at once. After taking these, we're gonna flee back to our side of the map, and we're just gonna park the bus. We're gonna stay there until we feel secure enough to deal with the nonsense that is going on here. If I had brought a thrall with me, then I could have already built a base and gotten a head start on this. But being, you know, the overconfident, brash person that I am, I thought I could get away without doing that. But apparently not. Now this is gonna be the... This is gonna be the most treacherous walk back, even though I'm pretty sure there's nobody here. Even though I'm pretty sure there's nobody here, I'm gonna monitor these guys going back very closely. Okay. Now things are finally coming into focus. By the way, one awful thing about this map, you'll notice that there is both, you know, the black unexplored terrain, and there's also the gray fog of war. It's also a snow map, and the problem is, if you're in the gray snowy part, there's a slight color difference, but at a glance it's almost impossible to tell which part is something that you can see and which part is something that you can't see. The AI, of course, doesn't have to worry about that because, you know, the AI cheats. So, yeah, that's gonna be another thing. Another incentive for us to not try and get into a fair fight against the enemy. There were mines to the left as well. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stick you inside this tower. Actually, no, before I stick you inside a tower, I'm gonna have you build a second ziggurat. Yeah. And with you build... Do I need a lookout? No, I don't. I'll build an ironworks. And you will take a couple more mines. And now we can kind of relax. What are we waiting for? Well, honestly, I think we just want to go to level 2. We want to build our pen and start building sheep to heal our Minotaur kings. I'll lock the one with less health. Start building Minotaur kings. Not building, start healing our Minotaur kings. And when they're healed up, we'll go take out the rest of the undead towers. And that should be... That should be all that we need to worry about. Sure, we'll even get some bonuses. We'll get some more bonuses. We'll, well... Let's... Let's put you there. Yeah, we don't really need any of that stuff. So I'll build a pen right here. Sure, you know what, build a lookout. might as well build something, and you can see more skeletons for us to deal with. I'm not sure, like, did he just spawn in? Or did he somehow walk past all of our towers without getting hit? I don't even know.
Research complete.
I'm gonna put sheep on continuous production until all 3 of these guys are healed. Not sure, I'll put thralls on continuous production until I have them put into all of my mines, or all of, like, I need gold more, and then metal would be helpful. Alright. Not sure where they're coming from. Yeah, let's just start doing some of this. What else should we do? Honestly, it's just gonna be a bit of a waiting game until our guys get healed up. As you can see, we're already getting a good amount of our health back. Let's just get all the bonuses that we can. Sorry, there's not much there's not much to say. We're just waiting. I know it's not the most riveting. Like, we kind of already know that we've won, but I'm being hyper cautious. I could probably take out all the towers with this amount of health. But I think my paranoia is justified by virtue of the fact that we are playing Ironman mode. I'm gonna tilt the odds in my favor as much as I can. Yep, we're getting a good amount of health now. Gonna get even more combat bonuses shortly. We're getting sight range improvements as well. Not that we need this again, because we've already seen things once. So...
research complete.
yeah. Just waiting a little bit. And everyone's green health. I guess I'll wait for this final combat upgrade to be done, and then I'll send my Minotaurs. And even Kaz out. One thing that kind of disappoints me, if we look at this upgrade, Wind of Sartek. So I guess skeletons are just walking in. They're just walking in. That's so rude. I was like, why aren't my towers killing them? It's because they're not even fighting the towers, they're just... I'm not sure what it is they're going after. So what I'm gonna do is, I won't send Kaz, I'll leave Kaz to get some more health. I'll send my Minotaur Kings on their own, and we'll see how they do. See, the big disadvantage we faced in this map is that the active enemy was behind a wall of stationary towers. If those stationary towers weren't there, then conceivably we could have done all of that with only a single Minotaur King. Now we're attacking at a nice speed. I think this was the tower that we had, that we had a hard time targeting because of the weird pathfinding. There's gonna be more here, I just know it. Fortunately, our Minotaur Kings are a little bit far apart from each other right now. I think once these towers are dealt with, in fact, I hear the slow clap, the applause building up, which means we've won. We're just waiting for the game to announce it. Any second now. There we go. We are victorious. Alright. 46 more experience. That is fantastic. Again, I don't think we need a Reaver. We've taken Graww. So that's nice. Next, I think it's gonna have to be Iceguard Keep. Graww, unfortunately, doesn't give us any tribute per turn. It'll be important to get our income to at least 10 crowns per turn. That way we'll be able to pay for an extra 4 points every single battle, assuming, you know, we've got enough initially to pay, and then we can kind of do it every turn after that. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this episode. But I will say before I close that I think this is gonna be the way I do it from now on. That in my initial attempt, I won't try too hard to win. I will just try to get the far-seeing upgrade, and then we'll take a look and we'll survey the map, and then we'll make a decision on how best to approach this. So I think that's going to be how things are going to shake out for the rest of this campaign, which is battles are going to be this two-stage situation. So with all of that said, let's also take a look at the regions owned. We're still up there in number 2. The orcs are tied with us. And the dark dwarves are kind of running away with things, but only until we start pushing in this way, and then we're gonna start keeping them in check. But for now, I think we can just reflect on another good, solid, hard day of work, and we can rest and come back refreshed next time to try and take out Iceguard Keep. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope to see you in the next one. So until then, take care.